On this edition of Good Day DePaul, our country has a new president, Donald Trump. We'll hear from DePaul students who are optimistic about the next 4 years and others who are concerned.
Before leaving office, President Obama made a stop in his adopted hometown of Chicago to give the final speech of his presidency. We'll tell you what he had to say.
In an update on the search for DePaul's next president, I'm Denny Camper.
And I'm Daniel Beatty, and this is Good Day DePaul. Donald Trump was sworn in as the 45th President of the United States on January 20th. His election stunned both the U.S. and the world. Here at DePaul, college Republicans are welcoming the Trump presidency. Good Day DePaul's Destiny Murray has our report. New security measures are being installed on both the Lincoln Park and Loop campuses. Door barricades will be in classrooms to help secure them from outside threats. The barricades are to be used if gunshots are heard or a lockdown occurs. To view how the barricades work and tips on how to survive an active shooter situation, visit DePaul's public safety page at offices.depaul.edu/public-safety and navigate to emergency preparedness and then to how to respond to violence on campus. The installation of barricades will be ongoing throughout this quarter.
And it's a song that will never get old.
It's definitely still stuck in my head. Thank you so much, Courtney.
DePaul is working on a new process for deciding which speakers student organizations can bring to campus. This in the wake of the Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro free speech controversies. The goal? To develop a more systematic process for speaker selection. A committee of faculty, administrators, and students is proposing a new committee that would consider each possible speaker. It would then make a recommendation to the Director of Student Involvement, Amy Minaw, who would make the final decision. The proposal is expected to be finalized next fall.
DePaul values and appreciates and respects and supports these issues of a free exchange of ideas, but to do that within a community that respects each other and can contribute to the larger commitment to learning and doing that within a learning community such as DePaul.
DePaul has retained its title as the largest Catholic university in the nation for the 19th straight year, with an enrollment of 23,110, and that enrollment is diverse. 43% of students are over 24 years old, 53% are female, 36% are students of color, and 7% are international students. On this edition of Good Day DePaul, our country has a new president, Donald Trump. We'll hear from DePaul students who are optimistic about the next 4 years and others who are concerned.
Before leaving office, President Obama made a stop in his adopted hometown of Chicago to give the final speech of his presidency. We'll tell you what he had to say.
In an update on the search for DePaul's next president, I'm Denny Camper.
And I'm Daniel Beatty, and this is Good Day DePaul. Donald Trump was sworn in as the 45th President of the United States on January 20th. His election stunned both the U.S. and the world. Here at DePaul, college Republicans are welcoming the Trump presidency. Good Day DePaul's Destiny Murray has our report.
The DePaul College Republicans say they're looking forward to the Trump presidency.
The Trump presidency has many concerned about the future of undocumented students. More than 70 leaders of Catholic universities, including Father Dennis Holtschneider at DePaul, have signed a letter calling for the protection of these students. Good Day DePaul's Jennifer Zipser has that story.
Father Holtschneider says it's crucial that DePaul and other universities help undocumented students.
Undocumented students are not the only ones at DePaul concerned about a Trump presidency. Many others at the university are opposed to some of his policies. Good Day DePaul's Celia Scavarell has details.
They started moving people out and the rest of them left.
The Donald Trump presidency has now begun.
DePaul is working on a new process for deciding which speakers student organizations can bring to campus. This in the wake of the Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro free speech controversies. The goal? To develop a more systematic process for speaker selection. A committee of faculty, administrators, and students is proposing a new committee that would consider each possible speaker. It would then make a recommendation to the Director of Student Involvement, Amy Minaw, who would make the final decision. The proposal is expected to be finalized next fall.
DePaul values and appreciates and respects and supports these issues of a free exchange of ideas, but to do that within a community that respects each other and can contribute to the larger commitment to learning and doing that within a learning community such as DePaul.
Meanwhile, Milo Yiannopoulos is embroiled in controversy again, this time at the University of California, Davis. 30 minutes before he was recently scheduled to speak there, protesters surrounded the venue with signs and began chanting, forcing the event to be canceled. UC Davis officials say the protest was peaceful, despite one arrest made inside.
DePaul's president, Father Dennis Holschneider, who is stepping down after this academic year, has found a new job. He'll become the executive vice president and chief operations officer of Ascension, the largest nonprofit Catholic health system in the U.S. Father Holschneider will begin his new job in July.
Meanwhile, the search for Father Holschneider's successor continues. The pool of candidates has now been narrowed down to the final 3. They'll each be brought to Chicago for interviews in the coming weeks. Their names have not been released.
DePaul Public Safety says a criminal sexual assault was reported on January 16th. The incident reportedly occurred in the vicinity of 950 West Belden in Lincoln Park sometime between 7 and 8 p.m. It was reported that the survivor knew the offender. No other details are available at this time.
Coming up in sports, the DePaul women's basketball team keeps winning despite losing its best player.
And Donald Trump's press secretary provokes some serious thought at the University of Chicago. Those stories and more next on Good Day DePaul.
The flu is unpredictable and can be serious.
Courtney Alamondi joins us now for Good Day DePaul Sports. So Courtney, how are the DePaul women doing without Jessica January?
Despite the loss, the team is doing very well. The DePaul women's basketball team lost their senior star, Jessica January, to a broken finger in the conference opener against Georgetown. And it's a song that will never get old.
It's definitely still stuck in my head. Thank you so much, Courtney. Students at the University of Chicago recently turned out to learn more about Donald Trump from the president's press secretary, Sean Spicer, and I was there to gauge students' reactions. The University of Chicago's Institute of Politics played host to President Trump's press secretary and communications director, Sean Spicer.
With President Trump now in office, one major question remains. What will he do with the policies of President Obama? Mr. Obama, who lived in Chicago for many years before becoming president, recently made the final speech of his presidency here at McCormick Place. Good Day DePaul's Lauren Autry was there.
As Mr. Obama's historic presidency comes to an end, thousands of people who were fortunate enough to get tickets flood McCormick Place.
Security measures are being installed on both the Lincoln Park and Loop campuses. Door barricades will be in classrooms to help secure them from outside threats. The barricades are to be used if gunshots are heard or a lockdown occurs. To view how the barricades work and tips on how to survive an active shooter situation, visit DePaul's public safety page at offices.depaul.edu/public-safety and navigate to emergency preparedness and then to how to respond to violence on campus. The installation of barricades will be ongoing throughout this quarter.
Next on Good Day DePaul, is biking faster than taking the CTA? The results of a new DePaul study may surprise you.
And a website that's negatively targeting teachers, including some at DePaul. Those stories after the break.
Radio DePaul is Chicago's College Connection.
Recently, 3 DePaul graduate students researched biking in Chicago. The report, released through the university's Chaddock Institute for Metropolitan Development, found that biking is faster than riding the CTA or Uber on the majority of trips. The study says bikes are slower than cars, but more predictable. It says buses and rideshare cars have to stop more than bikes and can be affected more by traffic. The study also suggests that biking could be safer if cyclists were allowed to treat stop signs as yield signs and some red lights as stop signs. It says this would allow cyclists to maintain their momentum and be more visible. The study calls for the city to offer programs to help keep bikers safe.
The U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy says e-cigarettes can be harmful to young people and that too many teens are using them. E-cigarettes turn liquid nicotine into an inhalable vapor without the harmful tar that's generated by regular cigarettes. But Murthy says nicotine is bad for a developing brain no matter how it's exposed, and he feels more research is needed on the potential problems of e-cigarettes.
The internet and social media strongly impacted the recent presidential election. In the process, many controversial websites have emerged. I recently looked into one site that's impacting teachers at DePaul and other universities. It's called the Professor Watch List.
A slip-up at Tulane University left 130 applicants believing they had been granted early admission, when in reality they had not. The selective New Orleans school sent the applicants a cheery email welcoming them to the class of 2021. But a few hours later, they got a retraction email saying it had been a mistake and that they had not been admitted. One applicant described the incident as crushing and embarrassing. Tulane publicly apologized and said the mistake was due to a coding error in newly installed software. The applicants will still have a chance to be accepted during regular admissions.
DePaul has retained its title as the largest Catholic university in the nation for the 19th straight year, with an enrollment of 23,110, and that enrollment is diverse. 43% of students are over 24 years old, 53% are female, 36% are students of color, and 7% are international students.
Several DePaul students made a point to give back in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. They pitched in at the Marillac Social Center's Peace Fair on the west side. Children from the community came to enjoy games and crafts such as face painting, cookie decorating, Connect 4, and Jenga. They were there to celebrate Dr. King's legacy and to promote peace within the community.
I've heard it was such a rewarding experience, and it lets me kind of see different aspects of Chicago. I'm new to the area, so I knew this is a pretty cool way to integrate and understand different parts of the community.
Congratulations are in order for two of DePaul's own. The movie Moonlight, which chronicles the life of a young black man as he grows up in a rough neighborhood in Miami, won the Golden Globe for Best Picture Drama. The film was based on a play written by DePaul Theater School grad Terrell Alvin McCraney. The film also starred current DePaul student Ashton Sanders.
That's all for this week's edition of Good Day DePaul. You can keep up with us by visiting our Vimeo channel at Good Day DePaul or by going to goodday.depaul.edu. And if you have any news tips, send them to gooddaydepaulnews@gmail.com.
And check us out online at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You'll find us by searching Good Day DePaul. Thanks for watching. I'm Denny Camper.
And I'm Daniel Beatty. Have a good day, DePaul.
Decision night in America is over, and the people have spoken. It was a big win for Republicans who've taken back the White House after 8 years of the Democratic Obama administration.
Wonderful. I can sleep tonight, for real.
It's official. Donald J. Trump is the 45th president of the United States of America, something that many people thought could never happen.
But much to the surprise of Clinton's supporters, it did. Early in the night, some Trump supporters doubted his ability to win.
So let's say that Donald Trump has just won the election. So what would your reaction to that be?
I would almost be shocked because I feel like a lot of people do not like him, especially my generation. I'm a college student. A lot of my friends hate him. I mean, I would be surprised, but I'd be happy.
Trump's victory has left Clinton's supporters shocked and concerned about how a man who they say has spoken against minorities and women could be elected president. But many Republicans aren't concerned.
I just don't prioritize mean words over national security, over a wall, over better trade deals. I don't care.
This election has literally and figuratively left Americans seeing red. The Republicans not only won the White House, but also were able to retain control of the Senate and House of Representatives, a recipe that will allow Trump to advance a very ambitious agenda. While that may be a scary thought for some, President-elect Trump focused on uniting the country during his victory speech.
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. We have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people.
While not everyone may agree about the outcome of this election, there is one thing that almost all can agree on, that this election is like none other in our nation's history. In an act of defiance against the DePaul administration, the university's Young Americans for Freedom, or YAF, announced they would host conservative speaker Ben Shapiro, despite the fact that the university previously said Shapiro could not speak on campus due to safety concerns. YAF Chairman John Minster said they decided to take a stand, inviting Shapiro to speak alongside Christina Hoff Sommers, who is known for her criticism of feminism.
We wanted to make a point to the university that they can't just ban speakers over and over again. They have been widely criticized in not just media, but by DePaul students, by the DePaul Democrats, by so many different student groups that this is something that they should not do.
Despite the fact that Ben Shapiro has been banned from speaking on campus for a second time, students have been lining up here for 2 hours before the event in hopes that he will show up.
And show up he did. Shapiro was met by university officials outside who told him he would be arrested if he tried to enter the venue.
So just to be clear, if I attempt to enter that hall right there and sit down just to listen to somebody speak, or if I attempt to ask a question or to engage in free speech, you will have me arrested at this point. Okay.
While Shapiro failed to gain admittance, Summers went ahead with her lecture inside. After about 10 minutes, she paused to take a phone call.
If you want to hear me speak and you want to hear Christina finish her lecture, just head over to the Green Room Theater, about 0.7 miles away. You can follow us there, and it'll be great.
The room quickly emptied as people made their way to the Greenhouse Theater Center off campus. Inside, Shapiro spoke about trigger warnings. He also talked about safe spaces, free speech, and what he called white privilege.
Once you've gotten rid of the trigger warnings and the microaggressions, then finally you have your pathetic safe spaces for all of these snowflakes who can't deal with the real world and are convinced that the real world is going to conform to your standards of what it ought to be.
It was drastic, and I honestly thought it was pretty cool that they did something like this.
YAF members say defiance over Shapiro is just the beginning. They say they'll continue to fight for their voice on campus. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Lorraine Taylor.
Are you from Chicago?
Yeah.
Chicago has long been a popular movie filming location, and a new exhibit at Union Station offers commuters and visitors the chance to take a stroll down movie memory lane. The exhibit features 10 panels that tell the history of Chicago transportation featured in well-known movies. It was designed in part by faculty at DePaul's Chaddick Institute, as well as students from the Sustainable Urban Development Program and School of Service.
There's so many great vantage points of, transportation in Chicago.
It's been a hell of a trip.
Sure has.
But after all is said and done, you did get me home, and I really appreciate it.
Hey, next time, let's go first class, all right?
Oh, God, I hope there isn't a next time.
I know what you mean.
From John Candy and Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to Chuck Norris jumping from a moving L train into the Chicago River in Code of Silence, the Windy City in Motion exhibit has it all. The exhibit is located in the Great Hall at Union Station and is free. It only takes a few minutes to walk through, which is perfect if you have a train to catch.
Catherine Hepburn at Midway Airport. Yeah.
The exhibit is not exclusive to older movies, however. It also features modern movies.
It has a lot of not only realistic information, but I remember a lot of these movies that have been made.
Optimus!
The exhibit will remain at Union Station indefinitely. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Lorraine Taylor.